Can you believe it? Another aircraft accident. On June 12, 2025, Air India Flight 171, a Boeing 7878, crashed immediately after takeoff. It was airborne for less than 60 seconds. Now, we need to find out what went wrong. A plane that takes off smoothly and looks perfect suddenly loses lift and starts heading back toward the ground. Was it a maintenance issue? A mechanical failure? Was it the pilot's mistake? Was it software related? Or did Boeing just make another faulty plane? Analysis of the Air India crash footage. All right, the issue here is that if you're watching this video right now and you've seen this video in the news, unfortunately, you're watching the wrong version of the video because you're seeing a copy of the video, not the original. All the major news outlets were eager to show this footage this morning, so they posted whatever they had. But later, we got hold of the original version, and this is the original footage, which gives us clues about what might have happened to Air India Flight 171, the Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner incident. As soon as this Boeing 787-8 took off, something went wrong. What exactly happened? Let's look at these clues. I'll show you what's wrong with this version. This is the one that CNN aired. See how we can tell? It was shot from a computer screen, and you can see reflections on the screen, hear people talking in the background. Now, take a look at this new version, which seems to be the original footage. For me, it's much clearer and starts a bit earlier, and I want you to listen to the audio and tell me what you hear. The mysterious sound before impact. Did you hear what I heard? Engineers like me always look for patterns. We listen, we watch. I heard something different here. I'll play the first part as the plane passes by, and I'll play it for you continuously so you can hear the sound it makes. As it passes, listen for the tone of that sound. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Boeing 787 jetliner passing by, but doesn't it almost sound like a propeller plane? It made me think. So I believe what we re-hearing here is the use of the ram air turbine, RAT, on the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. This is a ram air turbine, RAT, also known as RAT. The interesting thing is, the deployment of RAT is automatic. It's a safety feature on the 787. If both engines fail or if the aircraft loses significant hydraulic or electrical pressure, the RAT pops out from its hidden compartment and automatically deploys. Then it provides emergency power for the plane to land, no matter what it takes. Emergency landing and RAT deployment. Here's a video clip from Japan Airlines during an emergency landing, where you'll see the deployment of the RAT. You'll hear the same type of sound. Let's take a look. You can see it hanging there behind the fuselage, near the back wheels. It's a small turbine fan, and you'll hear it buzzing like a small propeller plane. Listen closely. I'll show you when it's coming. Here's another example of a 787 at Boeing's test facility. Listen as it passes by. You'll hear a crisp sound, almost like a drone. The Air India crash footage from security cameras. All right, this video was also shot from a computer screen, and you can see that the person who shot it is moving the mouse around. This was the plane on the runway. As it passes behind that checkerboard building, it rotates and takes off almost immediately. You can see the nose lift. Until now, everything seems smooth. There's no smoke, no flames. In this grainy video, you really can't tell if anything's wrong with the plane. It climbs to about 600 feet, then starts descending again. At some point, something went wrong, and now it's going to crash. You can't see the actual impact, but you can see the fireball in the distance. Flight 171's radar speed and height. Let's look at the data from Flight Radar 24. It shows the takeoff. Flight 171 was scheduled to depart from Ahmedabad at 1:10 p.m., but it actually left at 1:38 p.m. One passenger videoed the inside of the plane earlier in the day, showing how hot it was inside, as the air conditioning wasn't working. We don't know if that video really came from someone aboard the flight or if it was fake. So the plane took off, and according to this data, its maximum altitude was about 625 feet, and its ground speed was in the V1 range. Could conditions have reduced this? Not sure. but it just plummeted down. Flight 171's crash location. In the previous video clip I showed, the security camera was probably near the left side of the runway. The plane took off, climbed to about 625 feet, and then started losing altitude. It was coming down straight toward BJ Medical College. The plane's direction was directly towards one of the buildings, and it crashed into it. Then, at the crash site, we saw video and photos showing flames everywhere, with hundreds of people rushing to help. It was chaotic, but at least it happened near a medical college, where immediate assistance was available. The only survivor of the accident. Now, you might think that no one survived the crash, but surprisingly, there was one survivor, Mr. Ramesh Vishwaskumar. He was about 45 years old, and according to the news, he was seated in 11A. He claims he jumped out of the plane, but I don't think that's really true. I believe the plane crashed, broke apart, and then he jumped out from the wreckage. The media released his picture from the hospital, and under it, his boarding pass with seat 11A clearly visible. If we look at the floor plan of the Boeing 7878 Dreamliner from Air India, you can see that according to his ticket, he was in the business class section, in the last row. Investigation and conclusion. It's hard to understand how he survived. The wings and fuel tanks are in that area, so the explosion would have been at its maximum, near the full plane. It seems like a pure miracle that he survived. He probably jumped out through a hole left in the fuselage after the wings broke off. Coming back to the security camera video, we don't see any signs of issues until after takeoff. The pilot must have known something was wrong early on, which is why they may have called a mayday. We know they issued a mayday call, and then the plane started descending. At some point, they realized they didn't have enough thrust. That is why I think either both engines weren't producing enough thrust, or there was an electrical failure, and the rat was deployed. Stock market impact. Take a look at Boeing's stock after the crash. You can see it dropped like a rock overnight. As a result, today the stock is down by almost $10. It might fall even more if worse news comes out, like another design flaw from Boeing. But I doubt that will happen. So, this is my hypothesis on the crash. As more details emerge, we may change our conclusions. If you haven't seen my video on the Philly medical jet crash a few months ago, make sure to check it out. It's a detailed video on a crash that happened in my area. I went to the crash site to show you more details of what happened. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned. We'll see you all in the next video.